Hello, welcome to Nate Norflix. I'm Nate, you're you. Now let's talk a little horror news. Florence Pugh has recently broken out in a big way. She has been in hits such as Fighting with My Family and a little movie called Midsommar, a film I would call a modern horror masterpiece. How do you feel about Midsommar? Be sure to comment below because that's probably going to color how you feel about this little bit of news. So I myself, being a big fan of Midsommar, I am absolutely psyched to know that Florence Pugh has signed on to do yet another horror film. Also adding to my curiosity is that it will be directed and starring Olivia Wilde. Now, Olivia Wilde recently made her directorial debut with Booksmart, a movie that was widely beloved by critics and fans alike, and she has some history with the horror genre. She was in The Lazarus Effect, and she notes that she is a huge fan of Clockwork Orange. Now, yes, I know that that is not a horror film per se, but it is a very dark, unsettling, gritty movie that does kind of disturb one. And the fact that that is her favorite movie of all time and really colors what she likes to do behind the camera, I want to see that in a psychological thriller, and that's what this movie is supposed to be. All we know at this time is that it's going to be directed by Olivia Wilde, and it's going to have an all-star cast. It'll have Wilde, it'll have Florence Pugh, it'll have Chris Pine, and Shia LaBeouf. So yeah, count me in. I'm very eager to see what this movie is going to be. Plot-wise, all I can tell you at this moment is that it will be a psychological thriller set in the 1950s, and where a 1950s housewife is going to have some startling realizations that make her entire world kind of crumble and fall apart, raising all sorts of questions. Now, is that vague? Yes. But at the same time, that's enough. It seems like this is going to be a very thematic movie with some great acting, and you can just do a lot with that concept. So are you excited to see this movie called Don't Worry, Darling? Be sure to comment below. Segue! Now on to some potentially troubling news if you're a big Halloween fan. They recently did another big viewing of the film, this most recent cut, and after seeing it, co-writer Scott Teems says that they think they really have a bigger, meaner, badder version of the 2018 Halloween. So does that excite you? I myself, I'm a little dubious simply because yes, it should be bigger and badder. It has the name, Halloween Kills, so of course it should be vicious. That's great, but the fact that nobody's really alluded to anything really good with all these characters yet is a little troubling. And then also just that, how many horror sequels off the top of your head can you think of that failed because they just simply tried to make things bigger and badder than the first? You get a little carried away and you lack substance, and I do not want this for this movie, especially because we already know we're getting 3 of them. So, the second one, it may be a little bit frivolous because they already know ultimately where they want to be. And so hopefully there's some strength here to get us to that destination. Even more troubling is that, Jason Blum, the head of Blumhouse, the production company behind Halloween, after seeing the cut, he said, it's pretty good. Whoa. That is not what I want to hear from Jason Blum, a man who is notorious for being super excitable and just very boisterous about his movies. He is, got a real mind for marketing. So the fact that he's being very tepid about his take on this movie, a follow-up to a movie that made him all the money in the world off of $10 million, that makes me feel a little uneasy. You think he would be really just taken away and ready to push this thing like, guys, that's fantastic. You're not going to believe this thing. You're going to be scared out of your mind. It's an amazing follow-up. If you like the first one, you are going to love this movie. That's what I expected to hear from Jason Blum, even if it wasn't sincere. So the fact that he sincerely just gave us it's pretty good. Whoa. Alright, so does that make you worry? Am I just a Halloween fanboy that is overreacting? Be sure to comment below. What do you want to see in this movie? Did you like Halloween 2018? Because I sure as heck did. And I just wanted to see them really make this thing work because I thought that 2018 version was so great. And I don't know that maybe just doing even more homages and the things that we got in that movie, just really saturating it. I don't know if that's the answer, but that's just me. Be sure to let me know what you think down below. Segue! Now for some happier news. We have an announcement for Scream 5. And the announcement is, we know who's going to be directing it. The team behind Ready or Not, a movie that I was just really excited about after I watched it. I was so enthused with that movie. I thought it was great, it was clever, it was witty, it was self-aware, it was meta. All things you need in Scream. Meta horror was really popularized by Wes Craven and the Scream franchise starting in 1996. So the fact that they got the gentleman behind Ready or Not, that bodes really well to me. It's also fantastic news if you're a Scream fan that we now know officially that Kevin Williamson will be connected to this franchise. It's looking like he may be the writer, which would be great because he was responsible for the writing of Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 4. That's right, the only Scream he didn't write was the one that is everybody's consensus worst Scream movie. So you want him involved, you kind of want him behind the helm, and he had a great relationship with Wes Craven, you know, rest in peace, maybe my favorite horror director of all time. But speaking of Wes Craven, I think we will still very much have a Wes Craven feel and influence on this movie, because while researching this project, I found out that Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven actually had designs on a possible Scream 5 and Scream 6, that they had discussed themes and a framework, and so, you know, he very well may find his influence and his lifeblood being poured into this Scream 5, which is great because in my mind, Wes Craven and Scream, they are synonymous. You know, you can't have one without the other, and it's kind of troubling to picture a new Scream movie without Wes Craven, but I gotta say I feel much better now knowing that the guys behind Ready or Not will be directing and Kevin Williamson will be attached. We do not know yet if this is going to continue the same story or if we're going to start with new characters. Which would you like to see? I myself, I wouldn't mind if the story continued. I don't necessarily need the entire gang, but for example, I wouldn't mind if you brought my girl Kirby back. I would like to see her story continued. She was a very interesting character. She was kind of like a really attractive female version of Randy, so of course sign me up for that. Would you want to see Kirby back? Who do you want to see back? Or do you just want to start it all over again? Be sure to let me know what your thoughts on these stories are. We can talk about it down in the comment section. I look forward to commenting with you guys. Other than that, you have a fantastic day. I am Nate for Nightmare Flick saying that's a wrap.